All right, welcome back to this next video in the Google product series. We're back into talking about Google Drive, but today we're going to talk about folder management. So let's look and get started with folder management. All right, so we are here on the Google Drive, and this is my folder that I created last time. If I go to my drive, you'll see that my folder is right here. This is a folder that is stored in the cloud. So this is called cloud storage. And this is the folder that I created. My first folder, there's nothing in there. So if I click in there, there's nothing in there. All right. Now, if I go back or go back to my drive here, you'll see that there's my folder. Share with me, there's nothing there because nobody has shared anything with me. So again, it's my drive and you'll see your folder. Now, I like to organize my folders with what I'm doing. So I'm going to click new, and let's say I'm in 9th grade. So I'm going to click 9th grade and I'm going to create a folder for 9th grade. I can also create a folder if I want to be really organized. I can create a folder for 10th grade. And so you'll see that folder pop up here. So now I have my 9th grade folder that I can add stuff to, and I have my 10th grade folder that I can add my stuff to. So I'm going to click on my 9th grade folder. Here again, it's blank, but that's okay. We have subjects that we could put in here. We can have interests that we could put in here. There's all kinds of things. So let's go ahead and let's just type in writing. So I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to put in writing. So there's probably some writing things that I need to do in my classes. So I have writing here. So let's look at our file structure. I have writing, and then I have 9th grade up here, and then I have my drive. Let's click on 9th grade, and you'll see here that I have several options. I can do a new folder within 9th grade. I can download this folder. I can rename this folder. I can also share the folder, share it with others, or just copy the link. I can also organize this folder by moving it maybe to underneath another folder. Right now it's underneath my drive, but maybe I want to move it underneath 10th grade. So I can go here and move it under 10th grade. Now, why would I do that? I don't know, but I wouldn't necessarily move this 9th grade one there, but what if I wanted to move this writing one there? So we could do the same thing with writing. We can click on writing and you can see here's the trail. It's my drive, 9th grade, writing. But let's say I made a mistake and I want this writing to go under 10th grade. Well, I can easily click this arrow, go down to organize, and I can say move. And if I click move, I can move it to 10th grade. I can move it to my first folder. So let's just do 10th grade because I accidentally put my writing, it's my 10th grade writing. I accidentally put it in my 9th grade, so I need to move it to my 10th grade. But what if it's not that? What if it's not one of these suggested? You can always go to all locations and you can see here's my drive, and then here are my folders again here. So I've got my first folder, I've got my 10th folder, 10th grade folder, and then you can just move it from there. So I'm going to go and move it to 10th grade. So notice now that if I go back to my drive, if I go to 9th grade, the writing folder is not there. If I go back to 10th grade, the writing folder is there now because I moved it from 9th grade into 10th grade. So that's an easy way of moving things. This also works for documents. It also works for any files that you upload. If you click on these three dots and you go to organize, you can move it anywhere. Let's say you don't want a folder that is that color. Let's say you want a different color folder. Well, click the three dots, go down to organize, and then you can actually change the color that you want. So now I have an orange folder that says writing. So if you like to color code, you can do that as well. So let's open up my writing, and I want to now create a doc. So I can just click on documents and I begin to write my document here. I can change the name. This is not really on Google Docs, but there's a video coming later that's going to really dive into Google Docs. But right now we're going to leave it there with that. Here we'll give it a name. We'll just call that my first writing. That way it shows up there and it's just not called an untitled document. All right. All right, so here we are. We're back here. We got my writing, my first writing. It is you could tell by this icon that it is a Google Doc. If we go back to 10th grade, you could tell by this icon that it is a folder. And then, of course, you could tell by these icons. Again, you can color code these icons as much as you would like. We can also star them and have those stars. All right, so let's see what we've covered so far. We've covered creating folders. We've covered moving folders. We've also covered how to change the colors of the folders. We have also talked about having folders within folders. And then, of course, we've talked about adding Word documents to those folders. So let's look at each part of this folder. We have the name of the folder. We have the owner of the folder. And that's going to tell you, the owner of the folder is going to tell you which drive that it's on. You also have the date and time that it was made. You have the file size if it's a file inside. You also have a place to share it. You could download it. You can rename this folder. You can also star it. Remember, if we star it, it goes down into the star menu over here. And then we also have these three dots where, again, you can download, you can rename. So lots of different places do the same thing. We can organize, we could share, and again, share the link or share with different people. Here's where you can then share it. You can restrict it, share the link with anybody or have it restricted. As you type in people's names, you can then give them access to write or just to read this folder, and everything in the folder will be open to them unless you restrict it. So always know folders, anything within a folder can be looked at if you give them high level access. In 9th grade, it's a very high level folder. It's right underneath my drive. So if you give them access to the 9th grade folder, they'll have access to everything underneath it or everything in the folder. So be very careful about who you give access to. All right. So let's see what else we have here. We do have the organize. This is where you can get a shortcut. This is where you can, again, star it, change the color, or move it. Folder information. This gives you that detailed information about the folder, who has access, what are the security limitations, all of the information, when it was open, created, when it was modified. You can add descriptions in there if you want to. You can even look at the activity when somebody opened it, created it, when they moved it. All of that information is stored right here. Well, I hope you enjoyed that look at the folders and how to create them, how to move them, manage them, all kinds of things, how to insert one folder into another. If you like videos like these, please like and subscribe below. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.